Minister Ng Chee Meng.
Mr. Speaker, I stand in support of the motion. We are all well aware that the world is undergoing unprecedented rapid technological changes. No country or market is spared. The fast pace of change is having a major impact on how we work and earn a living. For Singapore to be competitive in this new arena, we need to be hungry. Businesses will need to transform, our tauges will need to change their mindsets, and our workers will need to be eager to learn, to upskill and continually upgrade. These critical strategies have been mentioned numerous times, but we are not acting on it fast enough. We need to improve our workers' productivity and employability skills. Companies and workers must embark on this transformation journey now. The labour movement will push the transformation agenda by working even closer with government and businesses. And this is how the labour movement will be here to assist. Tripartite partners have collaborated extensively on the industry transformation maps for the 23 sectors. We are now into operationalizing these maps. The labour movement will fully support employers in the transformation of their businesses because it will ultimately benefit our workers. Businesses will have to play a leadership role by leveraging technologies to transform their businesses. Our workers must support businesses by working smarter and becoming more productive. The labour movement will support workers who are willing to improve and upskill. Currently, we have high employment, and our workers have enjoyed real income growth over the years. In fact, the median income has risen almost 22% in the last 5 years. So, when businesses do well, our workers benefit, have better wages, and a higher quality of living. But in this short time where I've joined the labour movement, there are concerns on the ground. And I would like to touch on some of these concerns. Workers are worried about making ends meet. They have worries about buying a home, about their retirement savings, about healthcare costs, and having enough for their children's education. They sometimes feel that no matter how hard they work, these needs may not always be adequately addressed. These concerns are all about the rising cost of living. In a conversation I had with a very close relative, he pointed out to me that coffee prices have been increasing and is set to increase again. He said that while the price increase may only be 10 cents, the number of increases have been too often, and these expenses have added up over time. Union leaders on the ground often share similar concerns as well. They are on the shop floor, and daily expenses are always on the radar screen of our workers. Many older Singaporeans are worried about rising healthcare costs. The government has introduced numerous policies like the 3M framework of MediSave, of MediShield Life, and MediFund to assist Singaporeans in their healthcare needs. Nevertheless, Singaporeans still have concerns, and I can understand their anxieties. For our workers, retirement adequacy is another anxiety. They are worried that their CPF savings will not be enough for them to enjoy the quality of life they seek once they stop working. More crucially, if they lose their jobs unexpectedly before retirement, will they have enough savings? Can they be assured that if they work hard, saved and contributed to their CPF savings, their basic needs of housing, children's education, healthcare and retirement will continue to be taken care of? Singaporeans now have a longer life expectancy, and the issue of retirement adequacy will become more and more pressing. Your concerns are our concerns as well. It is reasonable for Singaporeans who are working hard to have such concerns. So, how do we address them? How do we ensure that we uphold the principles of meritocracy and equality that has brought Singapore to where we are today? The labour movement believes that the best way to improve the lives of our workers is gainful employment in good jobs and good wages. We need employers to maintain a nimble mindset and workers to help themselves by upgrading their work skills. Both employees and employers must stay relevant in the evolving business environment. This is the best solution because wages can only increase with productivity gains. Real wage increase is necessary to keep up with inflation, to cope with the cost of living. Wasian Industrial Services, a cleaning company, is an example. The company embarked on the Inclusive Growth Program and was able to exploit driverless EcoBot technology. The employers deployed this new technology and were able to redeploy their employees to higher value roles and with corresponding higher pay. The company became profitable and more productive, and a good win-win outcome resulted. But I know workers on the ground have experienced growth differently. Some have done a little bit better, others have progressed a little bit slower. This is the reality when technology disrupts businesses. While we push to transform, I'm particularly concerned about three groups of workers. First, our low-wage workers. Back in June 2012, the labour movement under former Sec-Gen Lim Swee Say mooted the progressive wage model for the cleaning, security and landscape sectors. Collectively, these efforts by the tripartite partners have moved wages up for over 70,000 workers. From 2011 to 2016, the real median gross wages of these workers grew by up to 6.4% per annum. The progressive wage model has done much to alleviate the hardship of low-wage workers in the cleaning, security and landscape sectors. However, there are other sectors with low wage growth. For them, I propose we expand the use of the Inclusive Growth Program and find pathways forward to support more workers. We will work with the government for better support and prevent these sectors from stagnating. We must also take care of our freelancers, food delivery riders, the self-employed, part-timers, people in the creative field, and other forms of freelance work. With this emerging form of project-based employment, we should ensure that our independent workers enjoy CPF protection, medical coverage, and skills development. I note that the tripartite work group for freelancers and self-employed is currently working in this area, and we are keenly watching their progress. Another group of workers that I'm concerned about are the mature workers. Recently, I chatted with two uncles, both of whom are 75 years old, at the curbside in Changi Airport Terminal 2. These uncles were working as porters. They were sprightly and fit, and while they chatted with me, they told me they appreciate that they can still contribute, work, and earn a living. So on the one hand, I was happy to see them healthy and active, but on the other, I wonder if provisions for their retirement are adequate when they are no longer fit to work or when they finally choose to retire. In another conversation, this time with teachers from the Singapore's Teachers Union, they told me they welcome the Retirement and Re-employment Act that we passed in Chambers last year. This act extended the re-employment age to 67. However, being part of the baby boomer generation, they also wonder if they can be better protected with more assured terms of employment. Many union leaders have very similar concerns. They cited that we can legislate retirement and re-employment ages, but we on the ground cannot legislate mindsets. We cannot legislate mindsets. The real question here, therefore, is whether employers are willing to employ senior workers instead of having the fixed mindset that these workers are a burden, more expensive, and untrainable. Union leaders and I are worried for this group of workers. For many of them, the job is essential, just like us, with expenses, mortgages, and dependents relying on them. Tapping on WorkPro, the labour movement continues to work with companies to implement age management policies and practices, and to redesign their workplaces. In addition, through the Special Employment Credit, the government subsidizes employers the net cost of employing mature workers. We should empower the Tripartite Alliance for Fair and Progressive Employment Practices to look into this area of concern and do more. Furthermore, I propose to set up a new tripartite committee to better support for our aging workforce, to help our mature workers to continue working if they choose to. The third group I would like to talk about are the middle-aged, middle-income workers. They may be currently employed, but their earnings are just sufficient to meet their needs, and their income growth is not high. This is because some of their skill sets are diminishing in demand, or they lack the opportunities to progress. There are currently several government schemes outlined for this group of middle-income workers. However, similar to mature workers, the entrenched mindsets against hiring middle-aged workers is worrying. The labour movement will need more support from the government and business leaders to redesign jobs, encourage our workers to upskill, to stay relevant, so that they can progress in their careers. We will continue to look into career matching programs, programs to change employers and employee mindsets, and for the displaced middle workers, work towards giving them a second chance at employment. As Minister Josephine Teo and I chatted, she told me that employers would like to have plug-and-play workers, but the reality is that workers need to plug, train, and then play. Beyond addressing the current concerns, we also want to help all working people seize opportunities that the future will bring. Hence, I would like to touch on the industry transformation maps, the ITMs. The best way forward for the labour movement is to operationalize the ITMs, continue to work with tripartite partners to translate these ITMs into tangible outcomes. We need to make ITMs real for all our working people, whether it is a PME in the financial sector or the worker on the shop floor, by distilling these ITMs into actionable, purposeful training programs for them. For example, in the aviation sector, where I have interaction when I was in MOT, SIA Engineering, together with union representatives, are empowering 3,000 workers with the skills to handle new technology in maintenance operations, including real-time data to facilitate more productive work. With this outcome, workers can look forward to better jobs and to future wage increases. We need to stay relevant by making lifelong learning a habit, not just a concept in our mind. The concept of lifelong learning actually is not new. The Chinese saying of 活到老,学到老 is a teaching dating back thousands of years. By embracing lifelong learning and making it a habit, we will be better prepared for future challenges. There will always be challenges along the way and even hardship. But if we work smart and stay ahead of the curve, we will find solutions, progress, and forge a better living for ourselves. Mr. Speaker, in Mandarin, please. 全球化、科技化、数码化，这些改变影响的不只是我们的企业，更是我们的公有。在过去2年内，政府推出了20个 产业转型蓝图，以协助企业转型和提高能力，掌握未来的机会。随着产业转型蓝图一个个的推出和落实，下一个阶段要做的是执行蓝图、实践蓝图。经济转型、企业转型、工作转型，工友们自然的也得转型。在这方面，职总将帮助工友化繁为简，化难为易。产业转型蓝图的内容包罗万象，既有实现长远目标的宏观政策，应付未来挑战的策略，也列出各种未来的机遇。这些计划、这些资料，说句老实话，对很多工友们来说太复杂了，太高层次了。我们必须把它简化、人性化。因为工友们想知道的是，我会被影响到吗？我会怎么被影响到呢？我会失去我的工作吗？还是会找到更好的工作？让工友们了解以上之后，我们的下一步是帮助工友们做相应的改变。工友们想改变，但他们不一定会知道应该怎么去做。我还欠缺什么技能呢？有这么多培训课程，哪一个才最适合我？得工作又得照顾家庭，要如何抽出时间和精力来接受培训？职总在这方面加大力度，帮助工友。我们设立了培训理事会，要把培训蓝图转换成让工友受益的培训计划，如设计和推出适合的工友课程，鼓励雇主支持工友接受培训，积极推出小块单元课程，让工友们随时随地都能吸收新知识。经济改变，企业转变，工友应变。无论怎么变，我们的最终目标和努力结果，必须是让我们的工友有更好的生活、更好的工作，我们的人民有更光明的未来。In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, we need to take better care of our low-wage workers, our middle-aged, middle-income workers, as well as our mature workers. The cost of living, the cost of housing, healthcare and education will be monitored closely. The government will continue to find ways to do more and do better in helping Singaporeans improve their lives. But needless to say, solutions are only possible if employers, workers and government work together. It is critical that our businesses take the lead and do the right thing. That when our workers do their best, remember to share the gains with the workers and give them what is fairly theirs when their businesses thrive. It's imperative that we have a workforce that is competent and able to stay relevant. We must continue to close social gaps by addressing the struggles of all our working people, especially the sandwiched middle class and the lower income workers. Help will always be available to those who need it, whether be it for employment, housing, or education. Those who have done better should reach out to the less fortunate. In our Singapore, no one should be left behind. We hear you, we are with you, and together we can make it real for Singapore and for all our working people. Thank you.